Hello, everybody. Welcome to Amazing You. I am your host. My name is Dr. Rani Thanakodi. I am a certified hypnotherapist using rapid transformational therapy, life and relationship coach, breathwork coach, astrologer, compassion life force energy practitioner. And today I have the great pleasure to introduce you all to Dr. Gulara Vincent from the UK. Gulara is a relationship and trauma healing coach, and Gulara is also a best-selling author of Hammer, Sickle, and Broom. Welcome, Gulara, to Amazing You.
Thank you so much, Rani. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am very excited to have you, and thank you for taking your time to share your topic, your journey to the audience today. So can you tell us briefly about your own story, Gulara?
That's quite a difficult question, isn't it? I wrote the whole book and I'm writing the sequel to my memoir, so it's quite hard to sum it all up. But I come originally from Azerbaijan.
Okay.
And I lived in the UK for the past 18 years.
Right.
I am passionate about healing.
Okay.
But I find saying snippets about myself and my story, it's not necessarily representative of who I am.
Yes, yeah.
And so I often, that's probably the hardest question on podcasts. But I would love for the listeners to discover who I am as we progress and as we talk, because I find that who we are goes so much, like it goes beyond the labels we have to put on ourselves to introduce ourselves. But I would love to say that I'm a mom of 2 kids.
Okay.
And I used to be an academic in my past incarnation, which ended only a few years ago. And now I'm a full-time healer.
All right. And can you tell us what has inspired you to start that journey as a healer?
My own trauma.
Okay, right.
I've been on the journey of healing for quite a while because I had quite a lot of trauma as a child, but also later on in life. And so through healing my own traumas, I realized that there are such many effective ways of releasing that pain and hurt that dragged me down, kept me stuck, kept me unhappy for so long. And I've done, with due respect to traditional therapy, I have a lot of respect to therapists, but I had Gestalt therapy for about 4 years, which was helpful to learn to talk about my problems. But I felt like I couldn't shift them fast enough. And so I got into alternative healing methods and had such amazing shifts in my own life that I felt inspired to bring it to other people as well.
That's wonderful, yes. Because I have realized, like you, sometimes I have clients who have told me they had talk therapies and it didn't help to shift that energy of that stored trauma in the body until they start doing the inner work, depending on the modalities that suits best according to their special needs. Yes, thank you.
And when we do talking therapies, they can be helpful, but we talk about what we know.
Yes.
And our conscious mind is only 5% of our mind, 5 to 10. Whereas 90 to 95% of our actions, of our desires, of our problems is stored in our subconscious mind. Yes. And to have tools that can access that stored old pain, which doesn't just live in your mind, it literally lives in your cells, in your body.
Yeah.
To let go of that weight, of that heaviness at that level is incredibly helpful. And what I've discovered from my own journey is that it's not just your pain. It's you carry your own experiences, but also at some deeply unconscious level, we absorb the pain of our parents.
Yes.
We carry our ancestral wounding in our DNA.
Yeah.
So some of the decisions and choices we make are informed by some of the patterns we've absorbed from our ancestral line.
Yes.
And unless we let go of those unconscious patterns and beliefs, it's very hard to move forward in life.
Yeah. And coming to that, the topic you've chosen was intergenerational trauma. So can you tell us what is intergenerational trauma?
It's a trauma that is passed down from one generation to another.
Right.
It's something that happens to, let's say, a mother loses her child.
Yes.
Right? So somewhere in that process, her heart may close down. She might feel unavailable to her other children. And even if she has another child, she might feel like, what if this child dies as well? So somewhere she doesn't open up her heart fully to her child. Now the child experiences it as a lack of love, that somehow mother won't see this child, and they try so hard. And so there is some sort of disconnect that hasn't been healed. Now that child become a parent with time, and then they replicate what they've learned from their experience with their parent. Yeah. And it just carries on until somebody stops and willing to look at what's going on and let go of that pain and have a different relationship with their children.
Wow. Thank you so much for explaining that. Can you tell us more about what your clients have experienced and anything that you have experienced yourself in terms of intergenerational trauma and how you heal yourself on that journey?
So in my family line, for example, if you read my book, the opening scene is about my mom's attempt to take her own life.
Right.
And so I was 6 years old and I walked into that scene. I witnessed that.
Okay.
And not long ago, I was visiting my mom, and my mom is incredible. She's now open to all the healing techniques that I do. And so we were doing a process called family constellations with her. Okay. And so in that process, the theme of suicide came up.
Okay.
What you do in that process is to resonate with specific energies so that then other participants can embody certain energies and move it, feel it and move it. So they do it for themselves, but they do it for the person whose process that is. So my mom was having a process and this theme came up and I stepped in and it was so clear to me that it wasn't even hers, it was my grandmother's.
Right.
My grandmother had the death wish as a child. And understandable because her mother died when she was 10 years old. And it's interesting that her mother died young. So something got passed down. And then that same theme's been recurring in my siblings' lives. It's somewhere for myself, I made a vow that I would never do that because I saw the horror, I felt the pain, but I wouldn't let myself feel the programming that was in me as well. And so that's an example from my personal life where this carries on. I'm working with a family at the moment.
Yes.
The whole family, which is quite unusual and incredibly amazing because things shift so much faster. But there is quite a critical situation with one member of the family, and other members of the family doing the work is shifting the pain and suffering of this particular individual. So I'm not working with that individual directly, but I'm working with other members of the family. And what's transpired is that there is sexual trauma that runs in that ancestral line. And so the mother had that experience individually at some young age. The father had that experience. And now that passed down to the children, because it's like there is some trauma. For example, somebody had sexual trauma and they deal with it the best they can. They bury it, they push it away, they don't want to think about it. They survive, they make life for themselves. But the resonance of it, the energy of it hasn't gone out. Okay, they may force themselves not to think about it. But it is not fully resolved, and it is in the field. It's like in the energy field. And then children come along and they feel that there is something unresolved in the field. And so they want to find some sort of resolution to that problem. And often what we can do is to re-experience the same pain so that then we can find a different ending, except the parents are unable to support you, because supporting and seeing your suffering would mean that they have to attend to their own, right? So oftentimes parents kind of may overlook situations that was happening to them. And you would think that those parents would be more kind of vigilant. But sometimes it's like it's just too painful to see it, because then they have to confront their own pain. And so it just carries on unless, again, somebody stops and does the healing to heal. And when you do intergenerational healing, you heal the line before you, but you also heal the line that's coming after you.
Wow, that is so powerful. That is extremely powerful. And I can relate to what you are saying, because having gone through that journey of healing my own traumas, I had a lot, Gulara, like until I started peeling the layer, then I realized how deep my traumas were. And as I did the healing, like you said, it helps to heal the people around us as well, because we are changing as we heal, and they start to see things in a different way, and they start to look for healing as well.
Absolutely.
And it is an amazing journey. And what would you say to people, because a lot of people are scared to go through that journey of healing their trauma? What would you tell them if they are in a situation today and they are struggling with any of their issues, whether it's anxiety, suicide, and they are pushing down those feelings? What would you like to tell them today?
It's so much scarier to think about these things, you know. It's so much like the mind would paint all sorts of pictures of how hard it's going to be. But the freedom that comes with doing that work is immense, because the amount of energy you expend on suppressing those thoughts, those emotions, that pain, it drains your life energy. Like, it's impossible to do something constructive while you hold down this big lid over the stuff that you don't want to feel. And you can't really compartmentalize. You can't really close the cupboard that has a label anger, rage, sadness, and experience joy and happiness and prosperity. It's like you shut something down, everything else gets shut down, numb, and muted. And the question is, you know, do you want to live this precious life more fully? Are you willing to experience this life more fully? Or do you want to put up with what you've been carrying for so long, given that it is possible to let go, and it doesn't have to take years?
Absolutely.
There are so many effective methods that shift things reasonably quickly, given that you have lived with those for decades, sometimes your whole lifetime. It is possible to transform your life, and I can't think of anything more rewarding. The thing is that we can stop thinking about things, but they don't go away.
No, they don't. They don't.
So we can address it the good way, like easy way, where we are in control and we choose when to do our healing, or our body will force us one way or another through illness or some accident or something that would bring us to the brink of where it feels so unbearable. We have to do something.
Yes, yeah.
Now, having said all that, I believe that it all happens when we're ready in this divine timing. It's just, if you are on the fence, jump.
Yes, yeah. I think that's a great point, that the people have to be ready to go through that journey, because I think it's Buddha who said, when you go through suffering, that's when you find happiness. Buddha or Rumi said that. So when you start to experience that healing of that trauma, you suffer a bit, but the happiness is much greater after that. The joy, the life that you live, the freedom that you have, it's like you are your own being, because all these traumas are not ours. They are not from us. We have acquired them, it's through our past, through our upbringing, and now we need to get rid of them. So that's the only way to go within. To do the work, it's about going within and getting rid of that crap. One of my clients say it's about getting rid of all the crap inside that are not ours.
Absolutely. And my attitude to healing is that I'm not creating something new for you. I am uncreating things that are getting in the way of your true light shining in the world.
Absolutely.
Yes. Peeling off those layers that obscured who you truly are. The thing is that we create identities, the identity of a survivor, the strong person, the one who always gives, the one who is always in control, because we needed them. Those identities are not wrong, they are not bad. At some point, they kept us alive. But then when we go into healing, there is a process of dismantling those identities, which are not really who you are.
No.
But for those identities, it can feel really threatening to go through that process, because they feel like they're just going to die.
Yes, because the body is familiar to that,
Yes. It feels like
a mechanism of the body.
Exactly. They feel like they won't be able to function without all those strategies. But that's not sustainable, because it takes up a lot of energy to create and maintain that identity. It's not, and then it creates all these feelings of being fake or an imposter, and not knowing who you are, because you shape-shifted so much in order to please other people, to be what they wanted you to be, that you completely forgot who you truly are here.
Yes. Yeah. It's like when we have trauma, we put ourselves aside, but we take all these other costumes we put on ourselves that are not ours. And we operate with all these different costumes depending on different circumstances, situations, and So now we have to get rid of all these costumes that are not ours. So
thank God that we do that. Thank God that we have capacity. And that's the genius of human beings. To be able to do that in order to survive. But now you can take them off. They just serve their purpose.
Yes, so that you can become your real self again and shine your light. Yes, that's very, very true, Gulara. Yes. So what would you like to tell people today who are facing some really tough times, Gulara? Whatever situations, what message do you have for them today?
I find that what the majority of people suffer from is this sense of not feeling good enough.
Okay.
It's like we try so hard and we do our best, and somehow nothing ever feels good enough, because somewhere deep down we don't feel good enough. And that sense of not enoughness holds you back and dictates your choices and how you show up in the world, and whether you share your gifts with other people or you're just hiding. And it has such a big impact on your life.
Yeah.
And if you can change one thing, I would say that addressing that feeling, which is often very young, it comes from family situations, from experiences you had, and can have a profound effect on your life experiences today. So if you need a doorway into changing something, feeling good enough might be a really good exploration, a really good doorway for finding out who you are.
That's great. Thank you, Gulara. So can you tell us more about what you do, Gulara? And also, if you can tell us, how can people reach out to you?
What I do is I use a blend of different techniques. I don't necessarily practice one particular modality. I'm trained in compassion key, in something called non-personal awareness. I use constellations. I'm a Reiki master. I use spiritual acceleration. So it's like different methods depending on what's needed in the process to shift stuck energy. So if you feel lost and confused, there is an easy, quick, and very effective methods of bring you into alignment with yourself. Just feel more centered, feel more relaxed, more grounded, seen and heard by yourself and by other people as well. What I offer is a lot of online opportunities where you can come to a healing masterclass with me on a variety of the topics. The next one is on Who Am I? Which would release blocks around these identities that you've created and stopping yourself from living your life. And then I also run slightly longer courses where we can explore a specific topic. For example, at the moment, I'm teaching a course on love and money, any blocks around love and money. The next one is on feeling good enough. And I also run in-person retreats in glorious part of Devon, where we use constellations and blend of other tools in order to release any ancestral patterns that we carry in our body without realizing. Because most of if we know the problem if we can resolve it with our conscious mind, we would have done it a long time ago, because we spend a lot of time and energy thinking about these things. A lot of this work is deeply subconscious, and it goes so deep to experiences that you don't even know you have, and able to release it at cellular level, at the DNA level, at ancestral level, so that you feel cleansed and lighter and able to live more fully.
That's wonderful. Wow. That's great what you are doing to help all these people who really need help at this time. So it's a great work, and we need people like you, Gulara. Yes, thank you.
We all need help.
Yes, we all on that journey of healing, it's like we are all on that journey, and it's a great journey to be on, because we grow, we evolve, we become a better version of ourselves each day.
Absolutely.
And Gulara, do you have a website or a link that you can share with us so that people can reach out to you, please?
I've got a website. It's gularavincent.co.uk. And you can find all the information about my offerings and what I do. And I'd love to hear from you. So feel free to get in touch if you've got a question, or if you want to explore something, then I'd be very happy to hear from you.
That's great, Gulara. Thank you. And the link will appear below so people can reach out to you and contact you through your website. Gulara, I would like to say it's been a pleasure talking to you and listening to you, and that you shared your story, a bit of your story, and you talked to us about intergenerational trauma and not being enough. So thank you so much for talking to the audience today.
Thank you, Rani. Thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you so much, Gulara, and I wish you a lot of success in what you do. And I will also say a big thank you to the audience for being so faithful, for listening, for watching, for subscribing, and for sharing. Thank you for taking the time to listen and watch Gulara today. And I will see all of you very soon with another audio or video. Thank you, everyone, and bye. Bye-bye.